Dana, closely followed by Howard. Okay, what this formation does for you is that if you have a brigade in 2 regiments wide in 2 lines, so in other words, you have Howard's line consisting of 2 lines, Damon's line consisting of 2 lines, Dana's, and Gorman's consisting of 2 lines, you're going to end up having exactly 6 guys who can shoot off in that direction. And from that direction, 4, 5, 6,000 Confederates are going to envelop Sedgwick's line off of here. Okay? It's not as clean as that. This is how we describe it. Really, it's regiments and brigades finding their way over here. Okay? And I'll get into more detail actually when we get out there a little bit.
Where were the Union guys going? What was their objective?
Well, if you listen, that's a great question John asked. Where were the Union guys going? So their goal is to get around and clear the West Woods and actually, supposedly, get over toward the Potomac River and cut off or outflank Robert E. Lee so that Lee can have no escape route back across the Potomac. But which you could do with the Second Corps, which you could not do with Sedgwick's division. Okay, and that was a big problem. They still might have been able to do a lot of damage if it weren't for the powerful Confederate counterattack, which had come from everywhere, by the way. Mostly on the Confederate right, some from McLaw's division. That's the biggest powerhouse of this. These guys had just marched from Harper's Ferry. They spent the night. They tried to sleep in Shepherdstown, but they said no, you were wanted closer. They had to cross, and they had a very brief night's sleep over just right near the town. And they actually couldn't find McLaw's. He was asleep in some tall grass. And eventually they found him. His troops had already started to move toward the battle. And these are brigades that you Gettysburg folk know well. Okay, Semmes, Barksdale, Kershaw. Okay, which seems to be an increasing trend now to say Kershaw. Which I'm not buying into either. Any more than Clyde Douglas. Okay, so these guys, along with Jubal Early's troops, are going to form against these Yankees going off in this direction. And what I'll say, and we'll get into this a little bit as we walk out there, is, this is a horrible arrangement, but 2 people are great when these horrible things befall them. One is Edwin Sumner. He was great when he realized what a fix he was in, riding bravely up and down the lines, trying to get his people out. And another guy who was really just great at being flanked, and by all accounts was excellent when he was flanked, and that is Oliver Otis Howard. Man, this guy brought his troops onto the field of Bull Run. What happens to him there? Oh my God, and then here he is at Antietam, there he is at Gettysburg, but by all accounts he keeps getting higher and higher jobs because he is such a good leader, so brave in the face of when disaster does strike him. In this case, this is no fault of his own. And this is where we stand at the Philadelphia Brigade Park. Of course, you guys know the Philadelphia Brigade. They're going to fight at the Angle the following summer. These guys suffered quite a bit, fought very bravely a lot of these times, and you're going to have these guys buy this park called Philadelphia Brigade Park, build the tallest monument on the battlefield to their actions here. And they didn't just run. A lot of their regiments did, but a couple of their regiments, along with some of the regiments of Dana's brigade in front of Howard, met on what is now Stark Avenue behind a rail fence and held up the Confederate pursuit. The Confederates pursued all the way to the Miller Farm, okay, almost to the house. For those of you who know where that is, it's about a half a mile away. The Confederates didn't just knock the Yankees out of the West Woods. They fell back that way, and the roughly 5,200 Yankees in Sedgwick's division, 2,600 of them were killed, wounded, or captured in like 20 minutes. Okay, that's what the official report said. It said in like 20 minutes. They spoke like we do today. In this retreat, the 106th Pennsylvania, commanded by Turner G. Moorhead, who was photographed on the Antietam battlefield just days after the battle. Might I add, by the way, most Civil War soldiers have no picture of them on any battle. Okay, Abraham Lincoln has 20 pictures of him taken outside at all during his life. Okay, outdoor Civil War pictures are very, very rare. Most generals don't even have them at all. Some generals have several. But none of them have a whole lot of them. So Turner G. Moorhead, as a colonel, is lucky to have been photographed on this battlefield. This is one of, I would say, the top 20 greatest Civil War mysteries that is solvable. This limestone outcropping, even if it's destroyed, we should be able to find a picture of it, find those rocks today. So go out and look for this thing. I've spent, at least a dozen hours just looking for this limestone outcropping, and they are everywhere here, by the way. So all these rocks start to look the same. Moorhead had just been given a special sword by the ladies of his town, and he dropped it during the retreat. And supposedly the rebels were 30 yards away from him at the time, and he went back to get his sword, and his men pleaded with him not to, and he went back to get the sword. And supposedly in a hail of bullets running back, them yelling, "Stop, you Yankee son of a bitch!" And he ran, dodged the bullets, and got off. Took this picture, and the sword isn't in it. It's killing me. Okay, where's the sword? It's part of his whole story. Okay, we don't know where this is. It's probably somewhere where Gardner already was, though. Gardner only worked in about 5 different places here. I like to think maybe near the real farm. So he took a picture of the real barn after it burned, and he didn't take any other pictures around it. Check around there. Think that way. By the way, This will gratify a lot of you all. Colonel G. Moorhead is 48. He's like 2 years older than I am. Look at this dude. This is what the Civil War did to people. Okay? You know, contrary to proper, you know, to popular things, you know, it's the idea is like, oh, this guy's 60. He's really old in the Civil War. People lived a long time during the Civil War. I would suggest it's largely because of infant mortality rates that you think the average lifespan is like 50. You know, you need to be more calm under battle. You know, so, but you do see it again and again. Joseph K. Mansfield, if you've ever seen his picture, he's only 58, man. He looks like he's 80 or something by our standards. So keep that in mind when you do that. Oh, here he is. Look at that. This guy's 58. Yeah. There might even be, let's see, 1 or 2 people above that age with us today. 58. But, you know, they lived hard. These were tough, rugged people. Okay, so we are going to walk a little bit, part of this attack. Questions? What I propose after that, by the way, we'll get back here and then decide. But with cars, it doesn't seem worthwhile to move 300 yards away to repark again. So I'm going to propose we walk over to the cornfield after this. And if anybody doesn't want to walk over to the cornfield, you can drive over to that stop. But we'll see the dead along the Hagerstown Pike on the way. So I hope you'll be able to do the walk. It's flat the entire way. Questions?